This is Radically Alive Women's Edgecast.
Welcome, Isabel and Eithne, to the Raw Edgecast.
Thank you. Hello. Hello, Millicent.
I am in New Zealand, and I am speaking with you, and you are in Brazil. And will you say a little more geographically where you are exactly in Brazil?
Yes, I am sitting at Sitio Brigida, a being school in Anitápolis, close to Florianópolis. It's the south of Brazil, south on close to the ocean, 2 hours from the ocean.
I first came aware of what was happening in your world through the first whisper I had was through Isabel. I remember I was in a space with Isabel, with you, and within one of these processes that you were unfolding or going through, you had this necessity to go. The words you used were something like go walkabout, like this necessity to take yourself closer to yourself and go away, like go away from what other people are creating, what other people are sourcing, and to really discover what this is inside of you. Had this image, and I think you put this image in of when you're not a little sapling beside a great big oak tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I like clocked this. It was really curious in me, my awareness that this has happened and this is what you've chosen. And then from there, you did disappear. Like I didn't hear from you. And since then, a lot has happened, and I wonder if you'd be willing to like unfold that more and flesh that out of what was happening for you and what happened in that time.
I was living in Florianópolis, in a bigger city, and what I noticed is people around me and in myself also, the nourishment that I was seeking, for example, going in a cafe or going into your dancing and moving everywhere by car, and the way that the city was so loud was not really nourishing me as I wished. What I noticed is like I'm living in a world where everyone around me seeks wealth through money, like economic wealth. And I was seeking for something else. I was seeking for for not hearing cars anymore and finding wealth in being in a space where I just hear birds. And I kind of can hear actually the wind and the wind telling me stories, and where I have access to see all the stars because the stars are so clear because there is not so much light and pollution. There is this word in Portuguese that is called saudade, a word that just exists in Portuguese. And you can describe it in English as longing. And what was my fuel to search for this place was this longing to discover a more nourishing wealth.
Thank you. I hear this piece around growing up in a culture where you have to constantly strive outside of yourself for something, and instead turning towards what is it really to be alive. And I would really love for you and for you both to sort of give a overview of what it is that you've started and what it is you're sourcing at the moment. How does it go when I'm not partaking in that culture that's not working for me?
What you said, Millicent, about this striving and having to do and go is what's at the center of my choice to be here at the Being School and to hold space for it. I've been in and out of transformational game worlds for, I'd say, 5 years. And I had the experience of transformation. I would have these big experiences and big processes, and it wouldn't quite stick because I was putting so much pressure on myself to be something other than I wasn't. I wanted to be more adult. I wanted to be more in my center, more angry, more feeling. And the reality was that I was trying to jump over where I was, which was not that. I was still very numb. I would not consider myself much of an adult at all as I was. And there was so much pressure and so much forcing that was happening inside of me to be the thing that I saw other people being. I would go through these cycles of pushing really hard and then collapsing and then pushing really hard and then collapsing. And I came to a point maybe 5 or 6 months ago where I just had this clarity. I don't want to live like this. I really don't want to keep doing this game. My practice being at this Being School has been about accepting what's going on inside of me, like really accepting my X on the map, where I am, with my reactivity, with my freakouts, with everything that's happening with me, and not making it a problem. To really learn how to savor the experience I'm having right now and not try to make anything of it. And yeah, and this practice is this is how I'm letting myself be, and not as a way to give permission to any part of me that wants to not transform, but to just really get to know what is really happening inside of me at any moment, because I didn't have that kind of connection before, that kind of knowing.
And calling it being school does not mean we know what being means. It's a way of practice. It's at school, a school to practice being and to find intrinsic movements and really being on each other's team when the other person is doing something extrinsic. Extrinsic means I'm doing something because I have the sense it's expected, or it is an automatism, or it's coming from a place of rules, whatever. But then it's not me choosing. It's not me consciously choosing that I want to do this right now. So, for example, there was one time where we were in the grocery store and we kept home, and I saw Eithne very fast putting stuff out, and she looked stressed. And I said, "Do you really want to put this stuff out right now?" And she said, "No, I'm just doing it because we came from the grocery store and now it's time to put this stuff out." And I say, "Hey, I really want to do this. Just go and choose whatever you want to choose right now." And even you are asking about experiments, even this, it's freaking me sometimes out, to to not clean the floor or to not make dishes now, and to let it be, and not having a forcing myself in any kind, and really experimenting when do I force myself to do something, and when it's coming from I feel, I sense, I think that I want to do this right now. And then it's coming from more, what I'm realizing is that I'm having more energy. I'm having more time. I'm coaching some people and they're telling me, I don't have time. I don't have time for anything. And this is also, I'm talking about a lot about wealth these days. Like, this is also a way of being wealthy. Time is a source, a gold that I can create for myself. And for me, the space here is about, okay, how can I fall in love with what I am creating now without following a plan, without knowing how it goes, but falling in love with the unknown as I'm doing it really for the first time right now. And sometimes I will fall back into automatism. Sometimes I fall back into other parts of my ego. And it's about also celebrating that there is something new that I can discover right now. So yesterday, we draw a map about how to use conscious joy to be my vision in action, like to embody my vision. Instead of my vision being something outside of me, something that I imagine, that I am my vision. And with me being my vision, and I come back, I wake up to this moment where I noticed, okay, I was just talking to Eithne and it was coming from another place than from my being. And in all this self-efficiency and have to improve myself, cultures where I was engaging a lot before, or where I'm coming from and what I learned, I have to improve myself. I try to be something different, or I try to not look at what is. I am trying to not catch, and instead of, wow, I discovered something. Eithne, would you listen to me so I can look at it like in a museum and I can discover it and how it works? And wow, this is how it is. And okay, and I don't try to put something else on it. And I discover, I drop into why. And is this the way I want to create? So I can have an intrinsic choice and not an extrinsic motivation from where I want to move.
As you're speaking, I get this thing that's also becoming clearer to me is like, and I sense it's accurate for a lot of people when they first enter into spaces that are for transformation or healing. Part of them is still so active of needing to get somewhere, needing to achieve something, needing to get approval from someone. And it's like at a certain point, something shifts. And I've noticed this in me when it's actually no longer about getting anywhere. When a certain amount of healing is done, there's this space opens up in me, and like this pure exploration and discovery, it just becomes so ecstatic and delicious. And this total unfolding happens without me needing to really do anything. Like, I just be with that.
What I discovered then, like the space, what you're saying, the space that opens up, then actually I access not thinking, non-thinking, and less mental activity. Like if I discover why I'm comparing myself with this other woman, why am I trying to compete with other communities or whatever? When I catch these little thoughts, they are doing this like that, and I can sense the energetic imprint, I can sense how it's emotionally impacting me and how it's also disconnecting me. Because when I, for example, use actually my conscious sadness or my love, then I create connection. I can still, see that another person is creating pressure, is not aware in this moment of washing dishes. And I can use connection. I can use conscious sadness to be with the person. This is just one possibility, but with this space that you just said, ocean of possibilities, can open, and then I actually experience myself as I never experienced before. And I start revealing other parts. It's like kind of while I'm blooming, like I'm blooming and flourishing while discovering from that place. This is possible. And it's possible if I allow myself to not live with rules, not live with how things should be or how someone else should be, how a household should be, how a being school should be. Yeah, and this is magic for me. Yeah.
This morning, Isabel and I were having a conversation about just how different our space holdings are. For the school, like in general, we're holding space for each other, for other people. And when you said this space, Millicent, what I thought about was how when I started feeling the space first open in me, I was so scared. I had never experienced anything like this, of having this creative energy that was moving through me, and it wanted to come out into the world. And what I did was I started by doing what I'd seen other people doing. I started holding spaces that were really similar to the spaces that I've seen other people do. When I would hold these spaces, I would use the same words, the same turn of phrases, the same, even in like intonations or energy with my words as I've seen done before. And what it did in me is it was a sort of flattening effect. When I try to copy what I've seen before, my being, my kind of potential for aliveness kind of hits a plateau, and I can't really go any more above that. But as Isabel was saying, when I move away from the should of how a space should go, or how I should go, or how we should go, or anything like this, suddenly there's so much more room for what it is I actually love to hold space for, and how I'd love to hold space for it starts coming out, and it's so radically different from Isabel's, from anyone else's. And what I am so loving and appreciating about this work is that it's really about how it's an orientation towards my own being, and through my own being to the rest of the world. How does my heart really want to be with other people's hearts in a way that's totally divorced from what I've seen done before, what I've heard done before, what I even imagine is possible? Like, how do I really want to be with the world? And what are the blocks in the way that prevent me from really being with the world in the way that I want to? And then being with the blocks, because the blocks are there and they're a part of me, and they're not bad and they're not good, but they're not something to jump over. We started writing this map the other day, the map of the stone. And it's this idea of that, we have stones on our paths, these things that trip and we stumble over on our path into evolution. And we had this radical idea of not kicking the stone to the side, not throwing it into the river, but carrying it. Wow, this is really something that's with me on my path. And it's a doorway, and really even loving the stone because it's there and because it's part of the experience of being alive.
One of my stones at the very first beginning that actually were crashed with Eithne stones, and it starts making fires, was that I am a spy. I see everything. I scan everything, and I do not let stuff slip. And how can I use that stone as a tool, and not as a problem, as a possibility? And like, for example, that Eithne said, we are here facilitating and being together on this path of evolution differently. For example, I spy, I see something and I put it on the table, and then it opens a new map. It opens new possibilities. It opens a new step of evolution, actually, for both of us. And also for the fields around us. It's also it has an effect for more people. But Eithne, for example, when I discovered this, she has spaciousness. Like, she is able to hold the space and be there without any judgment and with a lot of love. Yeah, it's also wealth to be with a human that is so loving and stops everything. There's cooking in the middle of cooking and stopping, and okay, there is a stone. And I am here. I am here with your stone, and I don't give up on you. And let's go and let's sit on the couch and cry and laugh and shake together and rage and not change anything, but have space to discover.
It brings me so much joy hearing you say that. It's like these stones become the wax. They're like, it's like if you find one, Isabel, it's like, wow, you found another piece of gold. I'm with you with that. Well, and will you speak more about, you say this thing of it impacts each other when you make these discoveries, and it also impacts the field around you. And are you willing to say more about what is in your wider field right now, and who, and what is being nourished by this wellspring that you've put down?
It's a web. It's a web. Like, it's a web where I can be consciously connected into this web or not. It's a web of, for example, okay, I am growing organic food here. We are planting seeds. We are planting 200 seeds right now. They are behind you, growing already. We have over 50 trees. And people that come here, we invite once a month people to come here and be in nature. Because before I came to the Sitio here, I was not so connected to nature. Nature was not really talking to me, or I was not aware. It's like this web that I talked about. Like, I was not aware of the web. No, the web is always there. We are always connected to everything. But if I'm aware of the connection, I can actually feel, sense, and be sensual about what everything around me is communicating. So I came here on my own first. I did not have a lot of people that, did not, some communities meet for a long, long time, and then they finally find a land. No, I went here on my own. The land said to me, it's the land to buy. I want you. And I fell in love. And I started talking to the land, and the land telling me of the vision of the land talking to me, and I was asking the land, which was a completely different orientation that I had before with nature. I would go to nature and have a problem and would say, I have a problem. Would you help me with my problem? And instead I said, what do you want? What can I do for you? How can I serve you? And she said, you are a weave of life. It's your job to let people be conscious about this net. And so everyone that comes here, just of being here and seeing what are we practicing, and that we are not perfect, and that I am okay of not being perfect, that I'm not running, I'm not a teacher, and not someone who says how it goes. But I am offering a new horizon, a horizon of feeling with your own selves what is possible if you speak to a tree, if you listen to the wind, you listen to your own body. So people, for example, in the last Café Brigida, it was all about feeling your body, being in your body, feeling yourself from the inside. and then walking through nature and listening, opening up to what wants to be said, what wants to be written down. And what I see is that friends that are with me in the path, they are asking me to hold space because they are searching for a life that is with less pressure, with less doing. And because I have this opportunity of being nourished so much from the wealth, the wealth of time, the wealth of not hearing cars, the wealth of talking to nature, the wealth of having so much space that I can actually create whatever I want, not clinging to everything. No, I had all the stories about myself. I am a writer. I am a guitar player. I am this, but also this is creating pressure inside of me, and letting it go like every moment, dropping and seeing, okay, what is now, is creating a kind of magnetism for people to come and visit and to be held.
What I'm discovering is that with every interaction, with every person I meet, connection is already happening. That I just have to look for it and let it happen. Isabel and I went into town a couple days ago, and we were just in a hardware store buying gardening stuff. And suddenly this woman that works there asked us to start asking questions. And then Isabel's telling her about the Cafe Brigida and the spaces that we're holding here. And she was so excited. And she said, I want to take your number. I want to take your Instagram. I want to get in contact with you guys. And this was, Anitopolis is a town of a couple thousand people, maybe. It's a very small village. And even in the most unexpected, most unlikely of places, people are so hungry for connection. I am so hungry for connection. And when I let myself have it, and I let myself just let it flow through me into the world, it explodes. Like we have another neighbor that the very first couple days that I was here, he went out and made us homemade dulce de leche because I'd never had it before. And he drove here like in the middle, after dark, on his bike to drop it off to us while it was still hot so we could eat it. And like that's an act of pure love, of really true love. And there was another neighbor who recently, after kind of an interaction that we had, said, what I value the most is connection. Friendship. I value friendship with you guys more than anything else, than any whatever else is happening, whatever little drama could happen. I value that friendship. And so the more time that I spend here, and the more that I get to know this land and this place and the people here, there's nothing that needs to be done to build a circle or to build a community, because it's already happening, and the web already exists. And it's just about really owning our place in it.
Yeah, this thing of what you said, that connection is valued. And because I sense that people around me value a lot more knowing and clarity, and put clarity in front of connection. And there is no heart-to-heart connection. Sometimes I have even sense that there is a curtain in front of some people's eyes. And yeah, how does a world look like? How does it look like for me if I value connection? And that starts really with myself. That I am connected to everything what is happening inside of me right now. That I'm sensing my food that is kind of falling asleep, my food, and that I sense that I'm scared of not being loved, that there is this part of me that can act in different situations from this fear, and that there is a part in me that is nourishing itself, kind of a spring that has this energy of self-eating, but not eating something away, but being full. And that is this kind of shyness that I am sourcing. Like, because there is a sun in the universe, and the sun creates a magnetism. And this is light, full light coming out of the sun and magnetizing all the planets. And in our Earth, there is also in the middle is white light in the middle of the Earth that also creates a magnetism. And our cells have these little particles that also create magnetism. And it's also light. And it's coming from inside out. And it's not coming trying to achieve something. It's not judging others. It's not competing. It's just shining from inside out. So if I just am, then and I don't do anything. I don't put something over me. And I relax into this I am. And I sit into my body. Something that I don't know is possible to appear.
Thank you so much. It's so rich. It's like being washed in a fountain of delicious fresh water hearing you speak. And I'm so glad of your capacity to actually put into words what is happening. And like I really get that it's really this allowing. It's allowing what is. That each person really lives in wealth, and all these delicious parts of being alive are happening already. And I so love that you've taken a stand, and I really honor you for consciously creating a school where this sort of research can happen and a wider field can be impacted by what it is that you are allowing to happen. To close this, would you say where if anyone wants to hear more or get in contact with you, where they can find you?
They can find us on the Sitio Brigida. We have a news channel and a website.
Sitio-Brigida at .mystrikingly.com.
Okay, great. Yeah, you put this in the description.
Yeah. And just get in touch with us. Talk to Melissa and talk to the raw, radical alive woman. They will give more information.
How wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa.